Broadsword calling Danny Boy.
Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of interplanetary I Spy going on here. We're on the moon again, and this is Apollo 16, 1972 image. This is I'll have the link for this down below in the description as usual. I'll have other links as well. This is the official Apollo image archive page here, which is pretty cool. There's thousands and thousands of images here. So you'll probably want to get it from the Wikimedia Commons one here, which is actually a bit easier to find and easier to sort of browse through. I've also got it up here in my Google Images. There are other versions of this image, but mostly smaller. This is the one you want. So there we go. Those will be in the description. Right, now where do we start? Well, the first thing I did with this image is I downloaded it and I got it up into my graphics processing software here, PicShot Pro, and started looking in close at some of the detail, because you can go in quite close with this because it's only 72 dpi, but because it's such a large image, you've got a hell of a lot of pixels to look at here, so you can zoom in quite a long way and it doesn't pixelate too badly. It's actually very, very good. Now, one of the first things I spotted was near the middle here, just above the center. You have this dark area, and there seems to be these really strange swirly patterns in this dark area here, and there's also a straight line here and another straight line here, which I'm not really sure about, and another one over here as well. I just spotted that. There's a bunch of those. I'll come back to them in a minute. Also, there was this rather strange thing. Don't know what that is. This is probably an image artifact, so probably nothing to worry about really, but it is really odd. This is probably an artifact on the lens, or just in front of the lens, or on the window of the Apollo 16 module. Don't know. That's more likely an artifact, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But what really caught my eye, after about a quarter of an hour of searching through this image, was up here. Now, not only is there what looks like fog or some kind of vapor around this dark area, which is kind of covering up some of this stuff, there's also this. There's two things here. First of all, I noticed this thing, which looks to be a tower of some sort. Now, this may be an image artifact. I'm not 100% sure about this. But basically, this, if it is a tower, and lots of people have found towers on the moon, they fail to obfuscate it in this image, because when I zoom out, you'll see how small it is. It's only a couple of millimeters tall. When you zoom out, when you see the whole image, it's almost unrecognizable until you go right in close, as I'm doing now. I'll try not to do that too quickly. There we go. And not only that, to the right of it, to the left of it over here, is a hexagonal crater, which is very odd. And I did a few enhancements on all these bits and pieces, and I'll show you those in a second. But this was weird because it's got a straight edge there, and another straight edge there, and a straight edge here, and looks very symmetrical, which is not really supposed to happen with craters. Craters are supposed to be random, they're not supposed to have straight edges. They had been found hexagonal and heptagonal craters on other planetary bodies, like on Venus and various places like that as well. So who knows? Who knows what causes that? So what I did, I took clips of these different things and enhanced them as well, and thought I would stick them in a little slideshow for you at the end as well anyway, so you can see them up close. Here's my basic enhancements I did first before I clipped the images out. There's these swirly patterns here, which are all over this dark area. There's a weird line there, which I think is probably an image artifact also. There's that that other image artifact that looks like a guy's body or a person walking along the surface, which is really weird. And there's loads of these swirly, kind of squiggly kind of artifacts in the image, which I've highlighted in negative here, which look like human hairs or something. I mean, this was taken on a real camera with real film, so you get these things either in the lens or that often happen in the photographic processing. You get human hairs and tiny bits of paper or things in the process that kind of get stuck in the image. This I'm not so sure about. This one looks like a flying saucer. So who knows what that one is. And here's another possible human hair or something here. There's a whole bunch of these all the way round. If you go around carefully around the image and then look closely, you'll see there's lots of these stringy artifacts. Now, whether these are anything important, probably not. But I did it anyway because I'm always methodical with these things. This one was pretty cool, but that looks like a hair. It's kind of twisted round. And there's another one here, which I've already showed you, with another smaller one next to it. There's another one here. They're all over this image, in the dark space area around the edge. There's another one. Some of these may actually be the same actual artifact that's been repeated as the image was stitched together, and there are a few stitched together marks on this. I don't think it's a single image. I think this is made up of a number of images which have been then stitched together. Right, so let's crack on with the clips I've got. Now, first of all, let's look at the possible tower here. Now, this is from a long way back. I don't know how far away the module was when this was taken, but it's taken from many, probably hundreds of miles above the surface. And you can still see this thing, and it's much brighter. If you look around the whole area, this little thing here is almost as bright as my cursor here. It's almost bright white, and that's always a bit of a giveaway with moon structures, because basically, as we've established in many other videos and documentaries, there are lots of structures on the moon, and many of them are made of a very highly reflective material like glass or something similar, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos. And this is why they probably look so bright. Now, when you zoom in, this is completely raw. This is much lighter than the surrounding area. Okay, so that's that one. Let's have a look at the enhanced version of that. Now, all I've done here is I've upped the contrast and darkened it by about 30 or 40% or something like that. Gone in quite hard with that, and I've clarified it a little bit by increasing the contrast. And you can see straight away that this is really very odd and really should not be there, whatever this is, whether it's an obelisk or a tower or an image artifact. It seems to have a base to it. Now, you can't see it very well in this because I've zoomed right in and it pixelates quite a lot. So what I'll do, I'll show you that hexagonal crater also. Now, this hexagonal crater here has what looks like a little pyramid sticking up as well, a structure sticking up above. So I'll show you some closer clips of that in a minute. But for now, I'll jump in and we'll look at this tower a bit closer. This is the unenhanced one. Now, it's very pale, it's very light, the surface of the moon is very reflective, and you don't see a lot of detail here. So you've really got to darken it up and up the contrast to see anything. But you can see that there is a slight shadow to it, on it. It is light round the edges and has a darker area in the middle. I don't know if you can make that out. Let's have a look at some closer clips of it. Here's an even closer clip. This is raw. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but when I go to the enhanced clip here, you can see that it is lighter around the edge and is not perfectly straight, but that we are zoomed in a long way. So this is pixelation, which is probably making it look less straight than it actually is. It looks kind of a bit wobbly here, but that is probably down to pixelation. So there we are. I mean, is this a tower? Now, if this is a tower, it's miles and miles high. I haven't worked out exactly how many miles high it is, but it's at least 2 miles high, which is absolutely unbelievable. But other people have claimed to have found towers on the moon which are miles high also. And this is probably one of the structures that NASA try and obfuscate in many of their images, that shows up sometimes on the horizon, and from other angles taken in different missions. These towers appear in lots of lunar images taken by the Apollo and even earlier missions as well, like Gemini and the Clementine missions as well. So they are there, and normally we don't get to see them in their entirety because they've been obfuscated by NASA, by JPL. But somehow they left this one out because probably they probably didn't notice it. It looks very small in the source image. It's not very small. It's just far away. It's absolutely enormous, whatever this is, and you can actually see if you look around the base of it. It has a sort of base to it, and a slight shadow here. Now, I'll go back to the source image again, and we'll establish the shadows so that we don't get any confusion about this. Now, here's the raw image again. Let's let that load up. There we go. This is the source image, and this tower is right up here by this large dark area, which is either the Sea of Tranquility or one of those, I'm not sure which. There it is, and you can see it quite clearly. But if you look at the size of it, the size of my cursor approximately there, that's a few mil high at this level of zoom. And I mean the surface of the moon from one side to the other from this sort of angle is thousands of miles across. So for it to even show up, it must be miles high. It's probably more than 2 miles high. It could be 5 miles high. I'll try and do some calculations and put them in the description. But even without doing anything to this image, you can see that there's something interesting here, and it's not normal. So what I did also is I tilted the image to find out, because which is the one we want, 12-degree tilt. This is the one I did. Now it's the same image, just rotated left 12 degrees, and then this tower appears to be straight when you do that. Now, of course, the camera could have been tilted slightly and distorted the view, so the tower is probably not leaning over, it's actually probably up dead straight, and it was the actual camera that was tilted when this was taken out of the window, which is quite common in photographs for things to be tilted slightly. So there we go, and when you run it up to the edge of the page, it's perfectly straight. So there we go, that was that one. Now let's have a quick look at the other couple of things here. We've got the the hexagonal crater here. Now I've enhanced this, and you can actually see that there's a structure sticking up from that, like a sort of pyramid or something, and you've got these straight edges which are totally unnatural, and what looks like a triangular or pyramidal structure sticking up from this part of the so-called crater. Okay, and I don't know if I've got any more enhancements of that. There we go. There's a negative of it. I've really darkened this, and you can actually see that quite clearly now, sticking up from this area. And there's also a kind of straight structure running through this wannabe crater here. So there's something going on there, but unfortunately it's quite small. Well, it's not small, it's too far away. This is enormous. This is absolutely massive, and may well be a kilometre or a mile or two high also. Don't know exactly, but if we compare it to the size of the actual tower, which could be miles high, then it is big. There's the tower, or obelisk, or whatever you want to call it, the white tower, and here's that hexagonal crater over just to the left, and you can just about make out the pyramid structure here sticking up from it. So that is very, very big indeed for it to even show in a raw image from probably 100 miles up from the surface of the moon. So that must be absolutely enormous. Both of these structures are huge, absolutely massive, basically. Right, so that was it. And there was one other excuse me, there was one other thing here which I'm not that was the swirly patterns here, which look like clouds in this dark crater sort of area here. This is a raw clip of that, and I'll just show you the enhancement I've done. Now this has been Gaussian blurred a little bit. I've really pushed the contrast on that to try and figure out what this is. And there is a straight structure here, although not perfectly straight, and another one here, and another one over here. Don't know what those are. They could be walls, they could be intelligent structures, they may be natural. But there does seem to be some sort of weird cloud over some of these dark areas. And I touched on that in one or two of my previous moon documentaries, which I think I put out yesterday or the day before. There, in some of these areas, there does seem to be what looked like fog hanging over the surface, which is really, really strange. And who knows what it is? It could be some kind of gas. It could be coming up from the surface of the moon. It could be water coming up and being spouted and collecting above the surface like a cloud of fog or something. Couldn't tell you for sure, but it is really, really strange. This, I'm not too sure about it. This is not as clear as the last one I showed you in the Apollo 10 video I did recently, my previous video. So who knows what that is. But either way, it's very interesting to look at, and there are some structures below or slightly obscured by this cloud or whatever it is here as well. So who knows what that is. So that's about it for this one. I'll put any extra images that I find from this thing here in at the end, and I'll have a closer look at that image artifact that looks like a person. Let's find it on here a minute. Just quickly have a little butchers at that before we go. It's over here somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is. There it is. There's like a little guy with a head here and an arm sticking out. I'll take a clip of that. It may be a structure. It may be a very strange structure that just looks a bit like a person from this angle. But it does kind of look like a guy walking or climbing up at the side of a cliff or something, you know. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll put these clips in at the end for you so you can have a good pause on them and have a serious look. And as usual, the links will be in the description, and I'll just put that up there just to show. I'll see you soon.